In watercraft, a racing shell, or just shell, is an extremely narrow, and often comparatively long, rowing boat specifically designed for racing or exercise. It is outfitted with long oars, outriggers to hold the oarlocks away from the boat, and sliding seats. The boat's long length and semicircular cross-section reduce drag to a minimum. This makes the boat both fast and unstable. It must be actively balanced by the rowers to avoid tipping. Being able to balance, or set the boat while putting maximum effort into the oars is therefore an essential skill of sport rowing. History. The racing shell evolved from the simple working rowboat. Boats with longer hulls and narrower in-beam were developed in the early 19th century specifically for team racing. These dedicated boats were the first boats that could be called racing shells, and they have since evolved into the highly specialized forms used today. Riggers. A narrower boat provides a sharper angle to the bow and a smaller cross-sectional area, reducing drag and wave drag, and avoiding hull speed limitations at race speed. The first racing shells, while narrower than working rowboats, were limited by the width necessary to mount the oarlocks on the boat's sides. By attaching outriggers to the gunwales, the oarlocks could be placed farther out. Two things happened. Oars got much longer, providing more length to the strokes, and hulls got narrower, until they were as narrow as it was possible while still retaining sufficient buoyancy and balance. Materials originally made from lapstrake wood, shells are now almost always made from a composite material for strength and weight advantages. The first composite shells were made from a form of papier-mâché and became popular in the 1870s. These paper shells were sold worldwide by the Waters Paper Boat Factory of Troy, New York. Modern shells are usually made of carbon fiber reinforced plastic in a honeycomb structure. They are manufactured by either cold laying up of the carbon, which is then left to set, or by using heat curing, which ensures that the carbon fiber composite is properly set. The best shells are characterized by their stiffness, as the lack of flexing means none of the force exerted by the rower is wasted in twisting the boat. Sliding seats. A rower on a fixed seat is limited in the amount of power he can apply to the oars by the strength in his upper body and the distance he can pull the oars on each stroke. After riggers were added to the shell allowing the use of longer oars, rowers took advantage by taking longer strokes and using their legs during the stroke. At first, the athletes wore trousers with wear-resistant leather bottoms covered in grease, and the shells had concave, longitudinal seats. The athletes could then use their legs to slide along the seat, adding the power of the legs and letting them greatly lengthen the stroke. This eventually led to the modern sliding seat mounted on rollers, which allows nearly frictionless movement of the rower's body. The first sliding seat was developed by George Warren of Toronto, a boat builder and famous decoy maker, who at the time was coach to world rowing champion Ned Hanland. With the advent of the sliding seat, Ned was able to greatly outperform his English and American counterparts. Sliding rigger. The same advantages may be obtained by fixing the seat and mounting the outriggers on rollers. Now the athlete's body mass remains stationary and the boat doesn't pitch bow to stern nearly as much. This improves the boat speed significantly. The disadvantage is that this arrangement may result in blisters on one's buttocks and in the risk of sliding off one's seat when exerting too much explosive force at the beginning of a race. In April 1877, Michael Davises of Portland, Maine applied for a patent for a sliding rigger footboard with fixed seat. In 1981, the German Peter Michael Kolb won the FISA World Championship using a sliding rigger. In August 1983, FISA banned the use of the sliding rigger, presumably because it was thought to be more costly than sliding seat boats. Boat classification. There are a large number of different types of boats. They are classified using number of rowers. In all forms of modern competition, the number of rowers can be 1, 2, 4, or 8. Although they are very rare, boats for other numbers of rowers do exist. In the 19th century, there were often races with 6, 10, and 12 rowers per boat. Position of coxswain. Boats are either coxless, bow-coxed, or stern-coxed. In coxless boats, a steersman is responsible for steering by either use of a mechanism connecting one of his shoes by wire to the rudder. The swiveling of the shoe turns the rudder, or by using the hand-controlled string, called a tiller rope, which is parallel to the gunwales of the boat, and controls the rudder in a similar fashion. Singles and doubles do not employ a rudder in competition. The oarsmen steer by increasing or decreasing pressure length on one sculler the other. In competition, bow and stern-coxed boats may race one another. Although sculling and sweep boats are generally identical to each other, they are referred to using different names. Sweep, straight pair, coxed pair, straight 4, coxed 4, 8. Sculling, single, double, straight quad, coxed quad, octuple.